All aboard and welcome to another episode of Animation Station. I am Brandon T. McClure, not your normal host, Sparkz Witty. We are in fact borrowing the show from him to do something very exciting. But I am here with Ben Magnet. How are you, sir?
Choo choo! All aboard the Digitrain!
Yes, exactly. We are doing Digimon Adventure Tri. We're going to be doing all the Digimon Adventure Tri films. Not today. They will be separate episodes.
God, no. Can you imagine if we had to do all the Digimon Adventure Tri movies in one go? We would be here for hours.
No, that is a bad idea.
Yeah. Also, I haven't seen all the Tri movies either, and I own them all, including Last Evolution Kazuna.
You haven't seen them all?
No, I have. The only one I have not seen is the last one, Future.
Oh, okay, interesting. We saw them in theaters together.
We did. Was that Confession or Coexistence that we saw together? I can't remember.
I don't remember. I think it was the second to last.
I think it was, yeah. So that must have been Coexistence that we saw.
Right. Well, anyway, we're going to be talking about today Reunion, which is the first Digimon Adventure Tri film. And now, a couple of caveats to get started. We are not going to be doing a comprehensive Digimon discussion like I kind of would like to, but it's been quite a while since the both of us have seen both Digimon and Digimon Adventure 02, which in America aired as Digimon Digital Monsters Season 1 and 2. Ben, I'm sure it's been longer than it has for me.
The last time I watched Digimon all the way through, I was living at Cal State Northridge. And
wow.
Yeah, almost 10 years. Oh yeah, oh god, almost 10 years.
My
heart. I can't take. No, but
my whole face just went gray.
I know, mine too. Because it was on Netflix. Like Digimon Adventure, it just got put on Netflix. Because remember when Pokemon got the first season of Pokemon was put on Netflix, and I was watching it kind of religiously. I was watching Digimon, and even my roommates at the time, they would come home, they would see me watching Digimon, and they would even sit down. They're like, "Oh yeah, Digimon," because they remember watching it back in the day on Fox Kids. Like, because Digimon, as well as Pokemon, to give a little history with me and the franchise, that was a wake up at X AM show to watch the brand new episode on Fox Kids. That was an event. It was just like the new episodes of Pokemon. And I think even we would watch Pokemon, then switch over to Fox Kids to watch Digimon and vice versa.
Yeah, that was same for me. I watched them as they were airing on Fox Kids. Specifically Digimon. I liked Pokemon. I was never a big Pokemon guy. I was mostly a Digimon person. Digimon just seemed more fun to me because of the personal relationships between the Digimon and the Digidestin. So because of that, now I'm going to say a couple of things up top, only in this episode, and I will not repeat them in the later episodes. So if hopefully you're watching these sequentially, we have not seen the Japanese language versions of Digimon Adventure and Digimon Adventure 02. We are very nostalgic, so obviously we prefer the English language version. Understandably, there are some infamous issues with both of those dubs that we understand.
There's also some because for kids entertainment, dub, like cultural differences between Japan and the United States, and things that would fly in Japan wouldn't fly in America. So there's sometimes some really weird editing. There's some weird language choices. Like for example, you may not remember, but in season 1, when the kids first get back from the digital world to the real world and they're trying to get back home from summer camp, Sora's cousin sees him off the side of the road and picks him up, and Koromon has an accident in the back of his car and they get kicked out.
Yes.
Well, that was the English dub. In the Japanese dub, it is a complete random stranger.
Interesting.
Who picks him up and drives him away. It still kicks him out because Koromon has an accident, but still, it's like, for you, it's kind of like the infamous jelly donut scene in Pokemon where Brock holds up a rice ball and says, "I love jelly donuts." I'm like, that's not a jelly donut.
Right. So there are some. So if we say something as far as what we remember from Digimon Adventure and Digimon Adventure 02, that is because we remember the dub more than we remember the Japanese language, and because of that, we are talking about the Digimon Adventure Tri sets released by Shout Factory, and primarily the dubbing for those films as well.
Mhm.
So if you're here for the original Japanese language, I don't mind saying probably go find someone more experienced in that.
We
But
like
if you're here for nostalgia and English language tracks, and this is the show for you.
yeah. No shade to the original Japanese,
None at
obviously.
all.
But when I heard that one, like I remember way back in 2015 or 2016 when these films were coming out, and it was said that a lot of the original English voice cast, not all of them, unfortunately, but a good chunk of them, it will be returning to reprise the roles, especially Tai and Agumon. I'm like, F yeah, because when you're growing up in America and you watch and you watch anime for the very first time and you listen to the English tracks, you get attached to those voices. You get attached to those characters speaking in that way. So, and I do like the newer voice actors in Digimon Adventure Tri,
Well,
but
some of them.
some of them, yeah. But when we get to the original and you hear that original voice, and it's like it feels like old friends. You know, it's
Sure.
like this is an old friend of mine. I remember like especially with Ty, because seeing Ty older now that I'm older, and still hearing him sound to say, I think it's Joshua Seth is the voice actor's
I think
name.
so.
Yeah.
I think so.
If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Actually, let me look it up because I don't want to mess it up.
Well, real quickly, I have I have a couple more things I want to say before we get into the
Hmm.
actual movie here. Which is, we'll say on mostly the English version of these characters. I know Gatomon is Tailmon, but in the American dub, it's Gatomon. There is a current Digimon Adventure 2020 series that I'm currently watching, that I might reference every now and then in regards to this series. I think that series is very good where I'm at so far.
Hmm.
But yeah,
And
so
I was correct. It is Joshua Seth.
there you go. So, well, why don't we just get into the film now? It's been 10 minutes, so let's get into the film now. Digimon Adventure Tri, the first one, Reunion. Ben, what did overall thoughts? What did you think of? What do you think of this one?
Oh, overall, just like in the Digimon Adventure 2 and in season 2, when you would see the original kids pop up. I mean, yes, they were helping the second generation Digidestined. It just was great to see old friends again. I know I really enjoy season 2 of Digimon. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but for some nostalgia purposes, season 1 will always be like the top because that was the first one. That was the first one that introduced me to the world of Digimon. It introduced me to like the characters, and it had amazing villains. Like Myotismon will forever be the GOAT villain in my opinion.
Oh,
And
I
just
like Piedmon a lot.
Haidamon is good. He's a
Yeah.
very close second, but Myotismon to me is just effing terrifying.
My Otismon rules. Don't get
He
me wrong,
does.
but I really
He
like
does.
Piedmon.
He does. Um, but it was just so nice seeing them all together. But also, I like seeing how their lives have gone forward because I was reading the back of the box. Apparently, that this film takes place in the year 2005, 6 years after the events of Digimon, after like the last major adventure with Apocalypse, or not even Apocalypse, maybe even the what's his name, Myotismon from Digimon Adventure 2, because he was like the last main villain.
Mallow Myotismon?
Yeah, Mallow Myotismon.
Yeah. Again, this is what I was talking about. We kind of half remember these shows.
Yeah. Like what's like again, like we said, it's been a very long time.
Yeah.
But it just feels great seeing the gang back together, seeing all the original Digidestined, like the scene at the airport. We'll get into it more, but like just the scene in the airport where almost all the kids are there with their partner Digimon, it just made me warm and fuzzy inside. So this,
Yes, I 100% agree that it does make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. However, I will say that this movie is paced poorly and it's a
yeah,
little boring.
yeah, I 100% agree on that. I will taking this the ties nostalgia goggles off, so to speak. It is a little slow. It is kind of like, yeah. There were
There's
times where I was like looking at my phone and checking, was like, how much time do I have left in this movie?
there are good things in this movie, and like you said, I think the reunion of everyone works really well. The build up to that reunion works really well, but and I think I didn't have the chance to do a lot of research for this recording, and so the next one I'll probably be a little bit more prepared. Um, I believe that it was originally going to be a TV show before it
Mm.
was turned into a movie. So plot lines and things were changed and kind of condensed together to make more sense as 6 consecutive films rather than probably 12 episodes of a TV show, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would say 12.
And you kind of feel that in the pacing, um, because after the battle with no, after everyone kind of goes their separate ways after the battle with Kuwagamon in the airport, there's clearly like a and the next episode is let's go see what we like. It feels very much like we're doing this again. We're kind of pacing. We're kind of doing another build up to another battle. How you would pace a TV show, where the beginning would kind of be like a lot of setup, and then we're kind of like figuring out this mystery of what these Digimon are, and then this battle at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I think both battles rule.
Oh yeah.
The fight with Kuwagamon in the airport. It's hard not to get emotional when those Digimon start digivolving. Like really, like you're just kind of sitting there and like I really like the new Digivolution sequence. I think it's really cool.
It's
Uh,
grown on me. I will say I'm a sucker for nostalgia a lot in this episode and
sure.
in this series. I'm warning the audience now, but I will never forget when in the TV show whenever the Digimon would digivolve and it was changed from the original opening thing to like the theme song, like
Mhm.
where you hear like the opening theme song and you get pumped because it's that awesome techno beat, and then you hear so and so digivolve too, and then they just like spin really fast. I'm a sucker for that. I
Sure, I get that.
the new- the new one is pretty cool with the it's new. I don't hate it. I like it, but I will always miss the original one. I'm sorry.
Sure, I think I prefer this Digivolution sequence to the original, if I'm honest.
Hmm.
I get the nostalgia. Look. I'm not going to say no to the little nostalgia, but I think the sequence is a little more visually engaging,
It is.
especially for a film, right? Like this
Oh yeah.
is at the end of the day still a film, and to get that classic kind of like that classic one was made on the cheap. It's
Yeah, it
it's
totally
basically a clip art that they turned in 360
I,
degrees.
I mean, to be fair, back in the day before like the TV show was big, Digimon was only. I mean, really, Digimon was a competitor. It wasn't a competitor. It was a supplement to Bandai's Tamagotchi because Tamagotchi. Now this is me.
It's technically, if I remember, okay, this is kind of where my research thing kind of fails me. If I remember correctly, Tamagotchi is a direct inspiration for Digimon. It's not like a competitor. It's
Oh
Tamagotchi and
well,
Digimon are connected.
they're not competitors because both of them were made and created or and owned by Bandai.
Yeah.
I want to say Tamagotchi came because this is then now someone in the comments by all means correct me if I'm wrong.
What does
Please
Brendan
do.
always say on Dropout on actually? Get in the comments.
Yeah, get in the comments. Because what I remember or what I thought, now this is complete speculation of me being a consumer back in the 90s, is Tamagotchi came out first. And then Digimon came out because I think Bandai saw that Tamagotchi was more popular with girls. So they're like, okay, we need something for boys.
So
Digital
it's
monsters
Digimon.
that can fight. Because that was the big thing. Tamagotchi, you just like, during the big virtual pet craze, you could just raise your monsters or your little Tamagotchis and make sure they don't die. Whereas with
And they
Digimon,
always did.
yeah, they always did because you forgot to feed him. You had to go to school. You couldn't bring him with you to school. Whereas at Digimon, it was the same thing with Tamagotchis, but then you could connect your little, for lack of a better word, the Digivices together and fight them. Like that was like I had this old I think I still have it too. This old PS1 game, Digimon World, where that was essentially a PlayStation 1 version of raising your Digimon to fight. Like you had to raise
Yeah.
it from a egg to ultimate level Digimon.
I had the D3s from Digimon Tamers.
I had D1
But
and
it was
D2.
I never had the D1s. Those are my favorites. Those are still my favorite Digivices. I never had those. The D2s are pretty cool, but I always had, for whatever reason, you know what? Not for whatever reason. I had the D3s because I really freaking liked the swipe feature.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really, really fun.
I mean, because those Digivices, the ones you're talking about, the ones that have like the little pedometers in them, you shake it and it counts your steps.
Oh
I
no,
had
mine had a little Digimon inside of it that I.
Oh yeah, my had too, because that's how, because my brother and I, I'm talking about the original like square Digivices,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
or
I'm with you.
the original Digimon Bandai, and then the show ones came out that look like the literal Digivices. Because I had the orange one for Ty, my brother had the blue one for Matt, and then when the D2s came out, I had the blue one for Davis because I liked the blue one better, and I didn't like I didn't like TK's shade of green. I didn't like the color.
I did like that the toys colored the Digivices
Oh yeah.
specifically to the characters. I always kind of regretted that the shows never did that.
Do you remember the transforming Digimon?
Yeah, I had an Agumon that transformed to War Greymon.
I had a black Agumon that transformed to Black War Greymon.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that because that's my favorite, and I never had that one.
Although I'm mad because the one I wanted, and thankfully my mom finally got for me, was Greymon into Metal Greymon, because Metal Greymon was my favorite.
I had a Greymon into Metal Greymon.
And yeah, but the horn broke.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, played with it a little too hard. Sorry, random tangent on it. Back to Tri. Back to yeah. Let's get back on track. Animation Station, back on track.
I do want to say that because we're talking about the specifically the English version of this movie, the new Digimon rap, I think kind of rules.
It does slap at first up because it brings a little bit of the original it kind of samples the original a little bit with like dit, but it kind of does it slaps.
I think it's a good bait.
I will 100% agree. It does slap. The one thing I want to say, actually I wrote down in one of my notes here for the opening monologue about Dema, whatever the frack his name is. I was very confused about what that was about. I was like, are we talking about like, is this, because I know with Digimon sometimes it does go into like biblical metaphors, like, you know, you have Apocalypse, where Apocalypse was made up of all like these Digimon that never really got to form, and it was just like angry and then turned into like this giant monster. And then of course you have Devimon, you have a bunch of other, or even going back with Myotismon, like the number of the beast where he digivolves into Venom Myotismon. You have.
This seems like it's something beyond the digital world, something that the Digidestined have to face that is not part of the digital world. But the opening monologue does seem to imply that it created the digital world. And there's kind of, so I was watching so at the time of this recording, the greatest news ever of Digimon has just happened, which is that the original 3 movies are going to be released unedited in America for the first time with new dubs. That's awesome. And that the Digimon Adventure 02 trailer has just premiered. So like, so that's all really exciting and that's all really cool. But I was watching a Digimon YouTuber, I think called Digino, and they were talking about that. Yeah, I think that's what the thing is. I don't mind shouting them out, especially if I'm right. But and they were talking about how Tri, Kizuna, and what looks like the beginning, which is the next Digimon Adventure 02 movie, often will retcon the shows. And you see that in the beginning of this movie. Like at the end of Digimon Adventure 02, everyone's got Digimon partners and everyone's living happily ever after. And at the beginning of this one's like, no, that never happened. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, especially like, you know, because Tai and Sora aren't together, and it was Sora and Matt who were dating, which made me mad because as a kid watching the show, I always thought it was going to be Tai and Sora. And then Tai becomes an ambassador to the UN along with Agumon.
Right. And so like that clearly never happened.
No shit.
And so like what's really interesting is and so it's like they keep kind of adding on to the digital world lore. There are various Digimon shows where the digital world was created thousands of years ago, but we just found it at the advent of the internet age. That was when we were connected to it. And then there's lore where the digital world was created when we created the internet, and that was something there. So there's all these different kind of things that have happened in Digimon lore since the second season has premiered with Digimon Tamers, Digimon Frontiers, Ghost Game, what have you, that Toei Animation likes to kind of repurpose and try to find a way to fit into the Digimon Adventure era. And I think that's what we're seeing with Tri. This idea that this creature from beyond the digital world, from beyond our universe, has either at this point in the show created the digital world or is infecting the digital world.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have the answer so far.
No, we do not. Because really,
and I've seen all 6 of these and I can't remember.
I've seen 5 of these, and I'm like really excited to go to episode number 6 because I bought it and I just never sat down and watched it.
Yeah.
But I'm also very, because I was confused about that opening monologue, because I know like with Digimon they like to take on these giant threats and like these threats that, because one of the positives I will say about this movie is that while it is nostalgic, it is really fun to see the characters you grew up with. It does bring in some heavy themes to it, like with Tai being very hesitant about fighting. Now, he wants to fight, but essentially he's getting traumatized by all the damage he's being caused. Like we do see a lot. I will say it's a little annoying to constantly see the same set flashbacks of like the destruction, the broken cell phone, the busted bridge, and just all this destruction. But at the same time, Tai has a point. I mean, he knows he needs to fight, but he doesn't want to because he doesn't want people to get hurt. And Matt's saying, yeah, we don't want people to get hurt either, but we have to fight or else everything will get destroyed. And it's this really hard
that's something I really like about this episode, about this movie. I think I do have a lot of negatives for this movie, and most of them have to do with pacing. But the thing that I think really where it really succeeds is the character work. I actually think the character work in this movie is really strong, specifically with Tai. Tai and Matt are going through a journey starting their journey in this movie of growing up. Yeah. They're outside of Joe. Joe is the oldest Digidestined, but they're kind of going through. They're in the transitional phase that I remember being in. I'm kind of still in it. Like you kind of feel for these actors, characters, because they keep asking like, hey, do you want to come to my band? Do you want to come to my show? Do you want to come to my soccer game? We can't. He even says it's really difficult for everyone to get together right now. And I really appreciate that that's tackling the idea, and then Tai has to kind of rectify with the fact that, well, we are all together again, but look at what our togetherness is doing to our world, and having that weigh on him. And I think is a really compelling place to take the character. And it's not resolved at the end, which is interesting because he kind of feel like he does kind of get resolved when he's deciding to like, okay, well, okay, fine, Matt, let's make Omnimon fight this Digimon. And then at the end, he's just kind of looking at the horizon, like all this destruction that Omnimon and Alphamon caused. Like, yeah, could that have been avoided?
Like, it's definitely a thing where it's like Tai, like, yeah, come on, Tai, get into the fight, let's go. But him wanting to see Tai accept it, but also trying to. So there's like a scene in the very beginning or in the middle of the movie or before the airport scene where Tai is trying to pull a Dragon Ball Z where he's trying to lure Kawagamon away from the city, and he gets him in the field where Agumon first shows up. But then we get when Matt finally kind of gets through to Tai and says, hey, we need Omnimon to fight this giant Alphamon. And then we get to that, I want to say like that mid post credit scene where Tai is looking, where he's looking out of the destruction and he's just like meh. And I was like, where was the character? Is there like a new resolve for Tai? I was hoping for some new resolve for Tai, but Tai is still kind of mopey. I know there's a few more films to go after this, but I did write a note saying that it's so sad that Tai and Matt just want to hang out with their friends, but they're all busy.
Yeah. And you kind of see Matt's point also when he's talking about, when he says a great line in this movie where he says, we didn't start this fight, but we're the only ones who can finish it. And I think that's a really great line to kind of personify this arc that both of them are kind of going through right now, especially Tai, who has the most focus in this movie, where he's just kind of like, where Matt is like, I get it. I get that you're worried about the destruction of what, and you're worried about what's happening to these people and to our world. But if we don't act, it will be a lot worse.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see both. Where kind of Tai is kind of thinking like Goku, like, is there a way we can move this away to a secluded area where it's not going to hurt anyone? And Matt's like, even if there isn't, we have to stop it no matter what.
Mhm.
And I think clearly both points are laid out very well, and you can kind of see where both are coming from, and you don't really land on either side in this movie. Again, it's been a while since I've seen this movie, so I'd be curious to know uh, how much that continues on and for how long.
I'm actually really excited to watch these films in more closer proximity to each other
Me
than
too.
when they first came out because I want to say before when you and I saw, I'm just gonna say Confession because I'm 99% sure that was the movie you and I saw together at the Fathom event. I was a little lost on what happened in the prior film because when these would come out, I would buy them because I think I got them. I got a few of these at Comic Con, and they would in Shout Factory would have booths at conventions, and when they would have booths, they're like, "Hey, the new Digimon movie just came out. Here you go. Here's the English and Japanese dubs for you on Blu-ray DVD." And I would get them. I would watch them, but it would still be a few months in between films that I would kind of forget what happened, and I was like, "Huh," because I do remember, and this is probably later on. There's one film where the film is mostly focused on Sora and how she's feeling because she's feeling very depressed. She's like feeling very overwhelmed. And because Sora's feeling all these, essentially, Sora's going through a depressive episode, Biomon can't digivolve. And
Yeah.
Biomon is now, I might be wrong, I might be misremembering, but I do remember that Sora does eventually get a breakthrough and Biomon digivolves to her mega level, which is Phoenixmon.
That's what these Tri films, the primary goal of these Tri films more than anything was to introduce the original Digidestin mega forms.
Yeah,
Um,
because I always felt mad that it was only Agumon and Gabumon who got mega forms and no
yeah.
one else did. And I'm like, this is some bullshit.
Yeah, and a lot of people did, and like it's kind of really messed up. And so like that was kind of the idea is that we've seen their champions, we've seen their ultimates. What do their megas look like? And so that's why every movie, I think they introduced two megas.
Hmm.
Um, and obviously this one is focused on Omnimon. Um, speaking of their megas, I love the Omnimon transformation in this movie.
Me
I think
too,
that's
dude.
so cool.
Once again, I even have a note that said, excuse my language, but I said Omnimon fucking rules.
I really like Omnimon just in general. I mean, who wouldn't? He's a combination of two of my favorite Digimon. And I really love that we see Agumon go to, and like we don't see the Digivolution, but that we see the attacks from the Digivolutions, and so like we see Agumon go to Greymon, and then wear Garurumon, and then Metal Greymon, and like in sequential until finally they're both at their mega forms to
Hmm.
Digivolve to Omnimon, and I was like, man, that is so cool.
I mean,
That
I will.
ruled.
That is cool to see him actually go through all the Digivolutions and they actually have a fight because once again, back to the original show, once Agumon and Gabumon could warp Digivolve to War Greymon Melgarurumon, whenever they got involved in a fight, they never Digivolved to their ultimate forms again because they
No,
technically didn't need to because they have a new form now because
and why would you?
Piedmon, yeah, because all like Metal Seedramon, Piedmon, Puppetmon, and Machine Dramon, they were all Mega Digimon. They needed the Mega forms to fight them. So
Yeah.
yeah, seeing the entire Digivolution line was awesome, but I will admit I kind of missed the Warp Digivolve bit.
The Warp Digivolve bit is really interesting. Is really cool. I really like the Warp Digivolution. So there's a crossover episode that happened in Digimon. I think it's X Ross. I think is what it's called in it's called Digimon Fusion in America. I don't know what it's called in Japan.
Just just to forewarn you, after I only seen the first 10 or so episodes of Tamers, anything past that, I have no idea what's
I
going
know
on with
that.
Digimon.
I know that, and you should watch Tamers because Tamers
I
rules.
know. I heard
Um,
Tamers was really good.
but so I think it's like the 5th or 6th season of Digimon. I think it's called Digimon Fusion in America. Really difficult to find. Digimon just in general is really difficult to find after Frontier, which is the 4th season.
Mhm.
In America, legally.
Mm.
You know, our me hearties. But I think
Voice
what's
the
interesting.
colors.
Exactly. I think what's interesting, there's this crossover, and it's this crossover with all the Digidestin from all the season, and so like this idea is like these parallel Digi worlds are coming back. So it's you see Ty and Davis from their respective seasons, and then the carrots from Tamers and Frontiers, and Agumon when he digivolves to War Greymon because they all need to get to their mega forms. He instead of doing the whole sequence, you see Agumon kind of do a backflip and then digivolve into War Greymon, like he does in the sequence in Digimon Adventure. And I was like, that's cool. That's a cute little thing.
Mhm.
Anyway, I don't mean to derail us much more.
Digimon's is a very nostalgic thing.
It is. But yeah, so I like the Warp Digivolutions, and Digimon Adventure 2020 was the first time that was the new Digimon Adventure show that's out right now. It's this complete reboot of the original series. It's they actually do Metal Greymon digivolving to War Greymon, which was the first time I've ever seen that. I never saw that happen before.
Okay.
I like the Metal Greymon voice in that show too. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
Speaking of voices, let's talk about the voice actors.
Yes, let's do that. Matt's was the most jarring for me when we got to the new voice cast.
Here's my issue with the voice cast. It's Matt. It's 100% Matt. I think for the most part, Vic Mignogna, who steps in for the role of Matt in this movie, Vic Mignogna, as you'll know, is Broly from Dragon Ball Super Broly. And you can tell. I don't think Vic Mignogna is a particularly good voice actor. He does so much, and there's been controversy surrounding him as far as sexual assault allegations, and we're not going to go into a lot of that here. Whichever way you fall into that is not our business. But and I think that he's very distracting because of the fact that he is just Vic Mignogna in this movie. And I get that the voice actor for Matt had retired at this point, which is wild because he's coming back to redub the new movies. But the new movies, the when he's doing the because which we talked about Digimon the movie, we're finally getting those 3 movies unedited in America. He's coming out of retirement to be Matt again.
He could come out of retirement for the Tri.
I know.
I mean, you know what? He was probably in different headspace back then. I mean, look. Sorry to go.
I don't think they asked him. I don't think they asked him.
How dare they?
Then the voice actor for Joe had passed away already.
I didn't know that.
Actually, the voice actor for Mimi passes away after she records this movie. She passed away in 2021.
No.
Yeah, so it's kind of so obviously like there are voice actors that you can't get back. And I think for the most part, the returning cast is all great. I think they all settle into their roles very, very quickly. Settle into these roles again. Go ahead.
Was Mimi and Tri, was she the original voice actor or was she a new voice actor?
Mimi in this Tri movie is the original voice actor.
Okay.
I assume for the rest of Tri also, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think I'm 90% sure Mimi is the same in the Tri. By the way, I love Mimi. I don't know why. I've always loved, like, what in the first original show, you get Mimi as kind of but then she kind of grows a lot as the show progresses. And even in this one, I just love how Mimi just loves Palma. She just loves everyone so much. And also Mimi and Izzy. I love it.
I'm not crazy about that, I'll be honest. But I think for the most part, all the returning voice actors are really great. The new voice actors are good. They settle into their roles fine. They get some getting used to. But Vic Mignogna, I don't think, at least in this movie where we're at right now, settles into the role of Matt. And his voice specifically being so prominent in practically every anime dub out there ever is very distracting.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not, look, I admit I've got a bias against Vic Mignogna, but if I'm listening, there's a line where Matt like comes in for the save after Greymon gets defeated by Kawagamon, and I was like, oh, that was just Broly, and like I was just like, that was Broly. I heard Broly just then. What's Broly doing in this movie?
Yeah. Yeah, Matt's voice is very distracting. The other, because obviously I want to say TK and obviously Kari is different.
Is Kari different? I couldn't tell.
I want to say Kari is different, but
I'm gonna look that up
yeah.
because I know that pretty much everyone is coming back. I feel like Kari.
Well,
What were you saying?
in Try, I think Kari is different, but even for Joe, because I know Joe is a little bit different, because I think, as you said, the original voice actor passed away before Try came out.
And I think he's very good.
I do like Joe's new voice actor. I like Joe's voice actor a whole lot because I mean you could still tell it's frantic Joe, like it's frantic Joe from the original television show, but
He's
he's
got a
little
girlfriend.
I know, I love that bit where he's like, man, I need to study so much. I need to do all this stuff. And it's like, I don't even have time for my girlfriend. And everyone just like record scratches and goes, what?
I really appreciate that Gomamon goes to look for Joe.
Me too.
I like Gomamon and Joe. I think they're perfect for each other. Okay,
yeah.
So Kari. Is this the new Kari or the old Kari? Okay, yeah. So Lara Jill Miller is, I think, old Kari. It doesn't look like she did Try. I think you're right.
I mean, because Kari has that. Oh, you know what? Look up who played the school teacher in Tamers, because that was the original Kari.
Was it really?
Yeah, I don't know why. And all the episodes of Tamers, the little episodes of Tamers I have seen, I do know that Kari, the original voice actress for Kari, played the school teacher.
Okay, so let's see. TK is the same actor, I believe. Oh my god, Vic Mignogna's picture on IMDb is just him as Kirk. That's funny. Okay, Ty, the narrator, Tentomon, Mimi, Izzy. Yeah, it's the same actress for Izzy. I always forget that the actress who plays Izzy is a girl.
Oh, she has such a voice where like every time you hear her, it's like, I know this voice actor so well. And just hearing that tone of voice for Izzy and hearing Tentomon's like Tentomon, just like his Einstein-esque. I know it's not Einstein, but when you hear Izzy and Tentomon talk, you know that the brains of the Digidestined. They're like very smart and very
yeah, did you know that our friend Chris Swindle plays Tentomon in the new Digimon Adventure series?
He does?
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
And he is very good.
I think I remember him announcing that on his Twitter, and I was so excited because as much as I love Agumon, Tentomon is probably my favorite, my second favorite Digimon after Agumon.
I don't like Joe very much as a character. I find Joe to be quite annoying, but I really like Gomamon.
Gomamon is like, he's the yin to Joe's yang, I would say.
I think Gomamon is such an interesting partner for Joe because he's so different, whereas everyone else is kind of the same, kind of the same, but like Gomamon and Joe are so different. Yeah. So the actress who plays Kari and Try is Tara Sands, not the original voice actress.
Yeah, but she does do I think she does a great job. Like only out of all, like obviously the returning voice cast, yay, my heart. The new ones like TK, I want to say TK, I could be wrong. Kari especially, she does a great job. Once again, Matt is the only one I just kind of go a little bit, especially now knowing that it's Vic Mignogna with all of his stuff behind him. I'm like going.
But, I also think the animation is great.
Animation is solid, especially the fight scenes. The fight scenes, I think, the fight scenes look really good.
We talked about the Omnimon versus Alphaman fight sequence, but the initial Greymon versus Kawagamon fight sequence when they're going through the portals was awesome. Like I love it really, because they go through like the in between realm, and then they go to the digital world, and then they go back into the real world. I was like, this is really cool. This is a really cool way to do this.
It's like it's like a portal fight scene from Doctor Strange when they're going through when they're going through like like you said, they're going through different portals. Like when the first portal they go through, they're in like the area where you see them digivolve. I'm like, that's an actual space. I thought that was just something to put on the
Yeah,
screen.
it's the in between. It's the in
Mhm.
between world before you get into the digital world. Yeah. Let's see. Um, Oh, the big thing that you're going to hear me talk about for the next 6 films, because I remember this being a problem for me. The opening of this movie opens with the O2 kids, the second gen kids, getting their ass kicked for some reason. By
I
I assume Alphamon.
mhm.
And it ends on Ken's Digivice
Yeah.
that we see, and then it pans up and they're all in the ground. Now, the thing that you're going to hear me talk about for the next 6 films, and I kid you not, because I will bring this up in every single review we do of these movies, is why the hell doesn't TK and Kari ask, "Hey, where are Davis and the others?" I
Thank
don't
you.
care that the original Digidestin kids don't ask. I don't care about that because they are not their friends. TK and Kari are as much a part of the second gen kids as they are the first gen kids, and not once do they ask, "I wonder where Davis is in this going on. What? Where's Vmon? We could really use Pyljamon at this point."
Yeah, I remember talking about this with my former roommate because he would I think he watched the Japanese bit when that was released before we got the English dub, and he was like, "Oh yeah, and try the O2 kids die." I'm like, "What
It
the
looks like
f?"
that. It
It
looks like
does.
that.
Like you see Davis and you see Davis, Cody, Jolie, and Ken's like black Digivice. I'm like, what happened? And
And
I will agree with
We see Ken later. It's not actually Ken, but we see someone using Ken's face later as the Digimon Emperor, and it's never once brought up like, well, if that was Ken, where's the other guys? Why? It's just weird to me that Kari and TK specifically never say, "Hey, maybe we should call up the other kids. We know other people with Digimon."
Yeah, and not only that, when Angemon digivolves when Patamon digivolves to Angemon, it's TK's new second
Yeah,
gen Digivice.
yeah,
And
and you
I
even
was
see when. Oh, speaking of, I'm glad they remember that Gadamon's a champion and don't
Yeah, me
feel the
too.
need to digivolve her to Angelomon. I was really happy about that.
Yeah, I always forget that when I was watching this movie, I was like, "Oh yeah, Gatomon is a champion level Digimon." Wow, she is like the weakest champion level Digimon out of all of them.
I mean, it's also that Angemon is far more powerful
Oh yeah.
than the other champion levels.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did appreciate that they remembered that she is a champion level.
Mhm.
But yeah, so like again, I'll bring this up in every movie, and I'm sorry to be so annoying about it because it really bugs me. It's a huge plot hole in my opinion that they never bring up the second gen kids. I get it's not their movie. I get it. And I get that it's kind of a mystery of where they're supposed to be by the time we get to the sixth movie. But the fact that no one brings it up, the fact that
Mhm.
no one finds it questionable that these kids haven't shown up and that they're missing is very strange to me. And I don't understand the decision to do that. Um, I mean, again, it's rectified in Last Evolution Kazuna, but that's 6 movies from now.
Yeah, I 100% agree because like I said, as much as I love the original Digestin, as much as I love that this is the original Digidestin's film, the kids in Gen 2, they're also extremely important and they have ties. Obviously, Kari and TK, they are the bridge between the first gen and second gen. And it is really jarring to see, like you said, this is like what 2 or 3 movies from now, where they're in the digital world, they see the Digimon Emperor, and no one goes, "What the f is Ken doing?" Because it's like that is your friend. Ken, I would argue, has this great redemption arc in the original in season 2, where he goes from bad guy to good guy, and I was cheering for him when he got his crest and he became a full-fledged member of the Digidestined. But my gosh, just like the fact that they don't even bring it up, they don't even try to call Davis or Cody or anyone is annoying. And I will definitely agree with you and like champion with you about it's so annoying not calling their other friends because I'm pretty sure that even though seeing Omnimon is just rad and it's like the coolest thing ever, can we get Imperial Jamon up in this bitch?
And again, I can hear the comments now. It's not their movie. I get that.
Yeah,
And I don't want them to be in. I don't. If you're going to do this plot line where in the beginning of this movie they're missing or they're defeated or something happened that they are defeated in the digital world by Alphamon, you don't have that thread pick up. Now, admittedly, Ben is misremembering a plot line that I'll just correct him on real quickly.
Oh yeah.
When they do meet, when they do see the person pretending to be Ken, they do go to his house and they try to find him. But
Okay, yeah. I forgot.
that is the only time that they're ever acknowledged. And it's so frustrating because at that moment it's kind of brushed off like, well, he's not home.
Well, good thing we're rewatching these movies because I completely forgot about that plot line.
And so like it is just strange that part of the mystery of the season for the Digidestin, not for the audience, for the Digidestin, is that the second gen kids are missing. Mm-hmm. And if they wanted to take them off the board in the way they did, which is fine to make room for the first gen kids, because again, it's their movie, not the second gen kids. I just would have rather them say, one of the things we need to figure out why are these Digimon coming to Earth? Why are they infected? And where the hell are the other kids?
Mm-hmm.
That's the mysteries, not Digimon are infected and they're coming to Earth. All right, that's it. I can't think of anything else that's confusing right now. Let's go on our adventure.
Yeah, I will 100% agree. It is annoying, but I mean, maybe because once again, as I said, I have not seen Future, which is the last of the Tri films, and I have not seen Last Evolution Kazuna. We'll get to those. Yay. Great excuse for me to finally sit down and watch those damn movies.
And then afterwards, we don't know what the American release date for the Digimon Adventure 02, the beginning movie, will be. But when that is out in America, we will talk about that as well.
Yay. Oh, man. I'm excited to go back to Digimon.
Me too. Okay. I don't love that Izzy. I don't love the Izzy and Mimi plot line, but we'll see how that goes.
I don't know why. I just like it when characters get together, and especially characters that I really like. It just makes me smile. But one other thing I will say that I did write down is Alphamon looks like a big ass Gundam.
He does.
Alphamon, I will not lie. As much as we don't know a lot about Alphamon, and obviously we don't know about Neko or Nekomon. I mean, we will in the later movies.
Makomon, isn't it, with an M?
Makomon, yeah, I said yeah, I forgot because I know it's Meko and Makomon because they share a name.
Yeah,
the partner and the partner Digimon essentially share a name, and when it's revealed that she has a Digimon partner being Makomon, it's like, oh, but of course the pacing in this movie, you only see her for a hot second, you know she's going to be important, but
yeah, the movie has some pacing problems.
If I remember correctly, Mako is more of a focal point later down the line because Alphamon is obviously trying to get Makomon. That's why he shows up. I think Alphamon's design is just rad.
I really love that Izzy is able to identify it from its cape.
Yeah, that's funny. Just seeing Alphamon and Omnimon duke it out, you kind of see like you see like the good Digimon and Omnimon, but then you see like a really big bad guy with this giant ass glaive of a weapon.
I think they're both the same type of Digimon, Omnimon and Alphamon.
I think so too. I don't even know what type of Digimon Omnimon is. I know he's a DNA Digivolve, but
I knew because what's his name? Gatomon? No. Guillaumon. And Digimon Tamers, Guillaumon Digivolves. I think his ultimate or his mega form is the same type of Digimon that Omnimon is. And there's like a plot line in the later Digimon season that there are these like Digimon knights that are and so it's all, and I think the golden armored Digivolution for Vmon is also one of them, but I don't remember. I'm kind of half remembering a show I didn't really watch.
Makes sense. I only know about the Golden Armor Digivolve from the Americanized version of the movie. Oh, I know they Golden Armor Digivolve in the show too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they eventually they get the Golden Armor in the show.
Yeah, but they only do it like the one time, and then it's a bunch of DNA Digivolutions, which are awesome.
No. I like the Digivolution concept, but the one Sarufimon, the one that's like the giant, like the one that Armadillomon and Patamon turn into,
Oh,
is just the worst design I've ever seen in my life.
I don't remember that one. When I say awesome, I'm only thinking about Imperial Dramon.
Oh, well, first they do Pyeldramon, and then he digivolves to Imperial Dramon.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, I'll show you DNA Digivolutions.
Even you know what? Even when like, you could tell it's been a very long time since I've seen Digimon, because I even in the ending credits for Reunion, they have like this cute little 8-bit drawings of the kids and their Digimon, especially going from in training to rookie. And I used to remember all of their names, and I can't, like, especially a lot of the in training versions for the Digimon. I'm like,
Let's see if
what
I
are their
can.
names?
That guy
Oh
is.
yeah, he sucks.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
I don't like him either.
I like this is Hakamon and Gatomon. I like that one.
Yeah,
And that
that
one's
one's
kind of
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah, first it's Pyeldramon, and then it's Imperial Dramon.
Okay.
And then there's two forms. Imperial Dramon is there's the dragon form and then the knight form.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, that's about almost an hour.
Yeah. I will say, like, yeah, there are pacing problems for this movie, but this movie is very nostalgic. I know we said, like, take a shot every time we say it's nostalgic, but while this film is nostalgic, and it does it, I say it does the thing of giving you more questions than answers. Us, like, and those questions should be answered further down the line when we're watching these films. I hope that a lot of these questions do get answered. I can't remember if a lot of them do, or at least if everything gets nice and nicely wrapped up by the end of it. Um, but I will say, as an opener, yes, there are pacing problems. It is a little slow. It is a little boring at times. The fight scenes are awesome, but the warm and fuzzy feelings you get when you see the OG Digidestined together, you see them with their partner Digimon, and you see a bunch of Digivolutions in the airport fight. I will say it's really funny to hear that only Togemon is the one who names her, who yells at her attack when she does it, and
Oh
no one
yeah,
else
that's interesting.
does. Because that was the thing of the shows. Every time a Digimon would do an attack, they would always yell out their attack name.
Apparently, that's only an American thing.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? All right. Well, why don't we at the end of every movie review we always rate the movie. So why don't we rate this one? What would you rate it?
I would rate this one. I'd probably rate like a 7.5, maybe an 8, depending on how I feel on the day.
I'd do a
Um,
7.5 pretty easily.
yeah, I mean, it's once again, it's not bad. There are some pacing issues, and it is the first entry in a series, so there are a lot of questions that need answers, or
Yeah.
questions that I want answers to that I'm probably not going to get. But as coming back to the world of Digimon, especially when it's essentially retconning a lot of things that happened at the end of the series or the end of the season 2, it's different, because I do know that Digimon likes to play with their timeline. Like you said, there's a lot of seasons that like to retcon stuff beforehand, but it's still solid. If you remember Digimon fondly and you're excited to see the kids again, I would definitely say this is a good entry. Obviously, it has to be an entry point. This is the first one, but it's not bad.
It's a good reintroduction to this world, and
Hmm.
I would agree with that. It's very nostalgic. It's nice to see these characters again. Um, the pacing issues are a big problem for me, but outside of that, I think there's some really good stuff in this movie still. So yeah, 7.5. I would agree. Um, all right. So that's the first one. We'll be
Yeah.
back for Digimon Adventure Try, whatever the second movie is called. I
I
forgot its
actually
name.
had to look up the order because I looked
Go
up
for it.
the
What's the
order
next
last.
one?
I want to say Determination. Let me double check because they don't have numbers on them. It's just like the title of the film. So when I have them set up on my thing downstairs, hold up.
Well,
Oh, here we go.
Ben's. Oh, go ahead.
Let's see. What order of the Digimon Tri? Determination. That's the second film.
There you go. So we'll be back for Digimon Adventure Tri Determination here on Animation Station. Ooh, that rhymed. I will, of course. There are plenty of other things going on right now on the show. We are taking the opportunity to do these Digimon movies because currently there is a major actor and writer strike happening in Hollywood. And in order to not cross the picket line, we are not talking about struck studio content, which means the amount of TV shows and the movies that we talk about is very limited at this point. Obviously, Digimon being a foreign project from a different country, it is not under these restrictions. So we were able
And
to
also it being a little older.
Well, no, even if it was older, we wouldn't be able to touch on it because past or present projects of Struck Studios. Yeah. So this being Digimon and being a foreign project is not covered by the SAG guidelines, and I'm very excited about that because it gave us the opportunity to talk about these movies, and I really like Digimon. So
me too. A lot of times when we were kids, I would get asked the question, "Are you more of a Pokemon guy or a Digimon guy?" And honestly, it was just like, what do I feel like at the time? Because I would go through these phases of getting really into Pokemon, watching Pokemon on after school, or there are days I would be really into Digimon. Like I would be rewatching the Digimon movie. I would rewatch my old Digimon VHS tapes.
Yeah,
that was the time.
I'm a Digimon guy through and through. I've always said Digimon. I know Sparkz and Ryan are into Digimon to some extent. I don't know exactly what that extent is. So if they are interested in joining us on this journey, they are more than welcome. But for the most part, it probably will just be myself and Ben here on Animation Station. There are plenty of other shows that you can check out on this channel if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching this on the audio feed. Please check out our website at FakeNerdPodcast.com to find locations for those shows and find out what shows are impacted by the strike in order to kind of navigate these things. We are putting out more stuff for Basement Arcade and for Fake Nerd Book Club, and where we can find new things to do for Animation Station like this. And of course, you can check out the Fake Nerd Podcast every Sunday morning. Not every Sunday morning. I'm sorry. We just switched to a bi-weekly format because we can't talk about a lot right now.
Yeah.
But we are every other Sunday morning. You'll see us talk about news and things like that. We'll talk about the strike and things. Please donate to the strike funds if you are able to. Join us on the Fake Nerd Podcast for a good time if you're interested in that. And Fake Nerd Podcast on all the social medias. I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. You can also find me writing for CBR.com, AtomicGeekdom.com, and KaijuRamaMedia.com. Ben, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me digivolving into my mega form at BenMagnet27 on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and also writing for Old School Gamer Magazine, Fusion Gaming Magazine, GoNintendo.com, and playing Mary Frankenstein in D & Dark.
And so that'll do it, guys. This was Animation Station. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of these discussions. Until next time, what does he say? I'm sorry. What does he say? We are departing the station.